Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross-stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I'd love to know what you're working on, and I'm so appreciative that you checked out my channel. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I love talking cross-stitch, and I am so grateful that you listen and that you come back and listen and share with me and join me on Facebook or in Zooms or in challenges or wherever it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. It is a snowy day here in Delaware. I am in southern Delaware, so it is already starting to wrap up a little bit. We do have a coating of snow though, so you know what that means for this for today's stitching. But I believe farther up north, they are supposed to get a little bit more than we are down here. I said to Mo, it's kind of the best of the worlds in the sense of it was pretty while it was coming down, you know, and the big flakes and everything. And then by tomorrow, it'll be all gone. So you don't have to worry about it being stuck on the roads and on the sidewalks and all of that good stuff. But I figured I would break out my snowflake sweater because, you know, it's very rarely actually snowing when I film. I don't think last year we actually really got any snow at all. So this is more this year than we had all last winter. A big banner video. This is Flosstube number 200. I cannot believe it, but I am just thrilled to be here to talk cross stitch with you pretty much every week as best as possible. And I hope we can just keep talking cross stitch for a long, long time to come. Lots more videos. Okay, so I did have an extra video in between last Friday and today. I did a video on my planners, and I have 3 different planners. Well, 2 of them are planners, and one is kind of where I just keep my projects information as well. But I put it in that video because I just thought it would be fun to just show you what I use to keep track of all of my projects and now all the different games and challenges that I like to do. So if you'd like to see that video, it's the video right before this one in the playlist or in the regular sets of videos if you look at videos. I did film from a different angle, and I think I could do floss tubes from there as well. I always like having my DMCs right here next to me, and I kind of have a setup here. But did you like that? Maybe I'll switch different angles from time to time and maybe try doing some from there for a little bit. So let me know if you liked that angle, if you watched it. And if you're not interested in the planners, don't worry about it. Don't go watch it just to answer the question. But if you did and you had a thought about it, I know a couple people did say they did like that angle, which is what got me thinking. I didn't really think twice about it otherwise. So I'd like to know your opinion on that. All right, and then one more reminder before we get to stitching. I am so excited. Look, look, look. I'm only showing you the backs because you know what? Ooh, let me make sure. Nope, there's no return address there. I was a little worried there. I don't want to show anybody's addresses. We have trading cards coming in. Yay! So it's the best time because my mail becomes so much more fun. So if you're saying, what do you mean trading cards? What's happening? I am hosting a winter-themed artist trading card swap, and you still have time to participate. You still have time to be a part of it. If you go to my very Flossmas number 1 in 2023, so go to my Flossmas videos and number 1, I talk about this current 8 trading card swap. And if you're like, I don't want to scroll back, I do have a playlist for trading cards. If you go to that playlist, it should be the first video that you see. It's the most current video. But you have until February 1st to stitch and create your trading card and then mail it off to me. Once you're ready, just reach out to me, Instagram, stitchingbytheshore@gmail.com. All that information is down below. Some people have messaged me on Facebook. Wherever you want to, and I will, once you're ready to ship it off to me, I will give you that information. So, but please watch the video, and if possible, if you could send a self-addressed stamped envelope with it, that would be fantastic so that you'll get back yours in that envelope. If for some reason you can't or you forget, it's not the end of the world, don't worry about it. I will provide that for you. But last time we had over 100 cards traded. So any help with you adding some envelopes would be fantastic. Thank you. I'm so excited. I've seen some on Flosstubes. I've seen some on Facebook, and then I've seen some in person that have come to me, and they are super, super cute. I think we're gonna love seeing all of these when they come in. So I can't wait when I finally have all of them in and we can do a video on them, because I think you're gonna like them. So if you have other questions, feel free to ask, and but watch the video. I think it gave pretty much all the information, but sometimes I forget. Alrighty, so let's go to the stitching now. I have lots and lots of projects, partly because I'm participating in Bringo, and partly because I like to jump around projects. I will work on a minimum of 2 projects in a day, up to 3, 4, 5, depending, or if I'm doing games, or this weekend, for example, is 24 hours of cross stitch and Whip Frenzy, so you may see even more. But I get a chance to touch quite a few, and that's just the way I happen to like it. I know some people just like to do one and that's it, and that's awesome. My brain just likes the variety, to be honest with you. And I have so many great projects. I like to stitch on them, so I like to kind of spread it all around. All right, well, my first one, I don't have any rhyme or reason why I picked this one up. I just wanted to stitch on it. I would really, really like to get this one finished this year, and it's totally doable. I mean, I could do it. So I am looking forward to seeing this one fully done. I don't know about fully finished, but at least fully stitched by the end of this year. And it's Wizard of Oz Tree from Tiny Modernist. And let me show you. Look, it is getting so close. So this is done on an 18 count Opal. I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Opal Blue Ice from To Die For Fabrics. And I don't have any backstitch. So if you're saying, well, I don't see, faces don't look complete. They aren't, because I haven't backstitched. I'll do that at the end. There is, you know, a session's worth of backstitch, but not a ton. So it should be fine. But I did end up working on these 2 little individuals right here, and then I did that so that I could extend this, to be honest with you. And I think I did, this is a lollipop as well, so that's going to have a, you know, backstitch there to show, because there's another lollipop up here. And I did more of the rainbow. It's kind of cool. The rainbow is in more pastel-y kind of shades to kind of go with the shades in this piece. And the bottom of the tree there is the Emerald City, and so I just got a very basic part of that. So what I did was I kind of jumped back and forth, because there's lots of little bits, like they need shoes. Dorothy, I think I want to do her shoes in red étoile. I don't think this base will have shoes at the end, but I'm not sure if I'll do étoile there or just leave Dorothy with the étoile slippers. That might be cute. And I do have some more leaves to do and some other little bits and pieces here and there. But for the most part, it's coming along nicely, and I love stitching on this one. It's a really fun stitch if you were thinking about it. I know the Tiny Modernist, I think, doesn't she have she might have like is it an Edgar Allan Poe tree? That one's kind of cool as well. And those are more gray tones and grayscale, which is really kind of neat. So that would be a totally different project than this one, but this is a lot of fun for all the bright colors. So yeah, it's just plugging along. I'm not holding myself to those goals, as I said before, that I created for my whip parade, but it sure would be nice to see some things get knocked off that list. And speaking of things getting finished and knocked off that list, I did finish one this week. January's, what is it? Snowdrop. So this is a set of 12. It's a monthly series from Cottage Garden Samplings. It's an older one of this series. It is a 2013. And every month has kind of a flower associated with it and a saying. But it never says the month, which is really kind of cool, because then you could use it. This could be used all winter if you really wanted to. So here we go. Now, I believe I did change. Let me see. I have a note in here. Let's see if it's what it says about any color changes. Yes. So there were 2 colors. You know what? I'm going to fold that over so I could, let me put this, I'm about to lose some stuff because I do want to put that information. Generally, when I do change colors, I like to put it in the description box below with all the information. I know I changed one of the greens. I find with this series, because I'm not doing them all on that neutral, that was where the models were on, I have to change some of the colors because they don't quite go with the colors I chose. I love this one. This is called, it's an 18 count, surprise, surprise, Winter Blues from Bestitchme. So I know I changed to blue, and a green, excuse me, and then I'm not sure what that other color is, but I'll list it in the description box. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think there's anything else that I left off. You know, I'm notorious sometimes for leaving things off of pieces purposely, not always accidentally. I did end up keeping the words, the two colors, unlike some of the other ones, because I was almost done. I think I really only needed 2 letters, so we were going to keep it. So this is finish number 3 for the year. So exciting. And we're only partially through October, through January. It's funny because right now, if I look, I have more finishes. Let me see. I have 3 finishes for the year and only 2 starts. Now, that's not going to stay that way. That ratio will change, but for now, there it is. So pretty and exciting. Always nice. So I was able to check off when I did my notes. I wrote on my whip parade. I have my 8 pages of notes or whatever it is, and so once I've got one finished, I can check it off. And it was nice to see that goal was a finish. Oh, and you know what? I'm thinking about this as I see the next piece. That goal was a finish, and it's nice to have gotten that goal done. So Wizard of Oz was for nothing. Like, that was just because, you know what I mean? I wanted to stitch it. I was having some fun. I am participating in Bringo, which is a January challenge in the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group. I'll give you the information down below. It's like MMCC or something like that. And so I always kind of get the words wrong in my head. But anyway, so the month of January, they're doing a bingo sort of like event. It's called Bringo, and there's 25 prompts. You assign a project for each prompt, and when they call that number, you work on it. So for last Friday, January Snowdrop was called because that's part of a series. And I purposely did that because I did want to get that one finished. So super exciting. I probably won't fully finish those until all 12 are done because they're going in the scrapbook. So they will not be part of this year's 55 full finishes for 55. So now my next one was super exciting. I thought this was a really fun prompt. For Saturday, it was a project that someone picks for you. So you don't know what you're going to get, right, until they pick something. So I reached out to my friend Amy, and Amy is, and I'm going to make sure I write down who I talk about. Amy is a newer Flosstuber, and her Flosstube is called Renewing Stitches. So if you want to check her out, she does videos on Tuesdays. So feel free. She has such a relaxing, calming voice. She's really relaxing to listen to. But anyway, I asked her, I said, Amy, what am I going to stitch for that? You get to choose. And so she chose, because she wants me to get this finished, Cinnamon Stars from Plum Street Samplers. And I do too. I'm pretty sure that I kind of listed it as a goal to try to get this one finished for the year. Now, I am going to change the pumpkin colors. The DMC alternatives are brown. In fact, here they look kind of brown, even with the over-dyed flosses, and I don't want them quite that brown. I am keeping all the other colors, and I had so much of it stitched that I wasn't going to change up colors at that point. So I do have to be thoughtful in my pumpkin choices, but I do want to change them slightly. So there we go. This is done on an 18 count Honey Amber by Fabrics by Stephanie. I stitched Betsy's Autumn on this fabric as well. obviously I didn't need all this other. I think what I did was I had the fat quarter from Stephanie and I just cut it in half. So part of it went for Betsy's Autumn and part of it's going from here. Betsy's Autumn is already scrapbooked, so this one will go as a 2-page spread. So I can cut that down and I'll have all this extra for, you know, a small, potentially trading cards and all of that. It's great with the scraps if you're doing trading cards now because you get to reuse those without just getting rid of them. So that's what it looks like at the moment. And I am concentrating over on this side. The fence is completely finished. You notice what I'm doing is I'm leaving the pumpkins for last because then I have to actually figure out the color. So I'm doing everything else besides that. I finished out the fence. The scarecrow just needs like face, arms kind of thing. Otherwise that's done. And then I'm starting some of the, I think it's corn over here. So it's sunflowers on this side and then corn stalks here. So I started some of that. I do need to fill in some of these little pieces. So I do have to go back and do that as well. And then I can guarantee you the pumpkins will be last. I can just pretty much guarantee it. So, but that's what it looks like. And I am really looking forward to, I think it's cool. And I started it when everybody was stitching it. You know how there was a stretch where everybody was stitching cinnamon stars? And I hadn't really refined or defined, I guess, defined what kind of color palette I really like. And I think this is really cool. And I love watching other people stitch it, but I wouldn't stitch all of my stitches with this color palette. I do like things that are a little bit brighter, a little bit more vibrant. But it's nice to have some variety, right, in your stitches, especially because I'm not worried about whether or not this is going to be displayed. It's going in the scrapbook. So it gives me that much more freedom to play around with lots of different colors and styles, because I would consider this one, you know, a lot more prim than a lot of my stitches. So thank you, Amy. And I actually stitched on it the day that it was called for. And then when I watched Amy's video on Tuesday when it came out, I stitched on that as well since she had called it for me. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Alrighty, next. So on Sunday, the call was, so this was a little confusing-ish. I figured it out, but I wasn't sure if I've done it 100% right, but it's my board and I'm not doing this for prizes. So I'm not doing all of the extra stuff you do for prizes. I'm just kind of doing it for fun. So it was to roll a die and whatever number came up that you would work on, that number of motifs was kind of what I thought it had said. So maybe we don't have a lot of games anymore. Once we moved and the kids moved out, got older, we don't have a lot of those. So I didn't have a die to roll. Now I guess you could do that online, but Mo was sitting next to me when I got the number and I said, Mo, pick a number from 1 to 6. He picked 5. It's like, great. Thank you. You've made more work for me. But the one I had picked, because I thought there was a lot of different options for motif, was Summer Quaker by Lila Studio. And I did do more stitching on this. I think I stitched, Amy and I actually did a Zoom and together, and I also stitched on this while I was Zooming with Amy. And so it got some good time and good progress. All right, so this is it as a whole. I can see through. So this is what it looks like. Now I have had this side over here done for a while. So I am going to fold this over. Well, I do have to say, I did work on the crab a little bit because these guys have lots of little bits and pieces. And so I've been kind of procrastinating on it. So I did fill in that guy. I started work on the legs. I still have some legs and some eyes to do on them, but so that did get some work. I didn't, for this one, because a lot of the motifs are bigger. I mean, there's small ones, of course, but they're spread out, right? So they're not always in an area where you can find them. So I just worked on 5 motifs. I didn't necessarily complete 5 motifs. So we have the sand dollar. I finished this. We have a little motif here. We have what's considered, it's a sort of fish. And then this is a flower right here. I also did finish the words. So live in the sunshine, swim in the sea. Those are the words for the first top of the line. And then you can see, this isn't really a motif, but I did this actually talking with Amy because it was great. It's just a repeating. And because I wanted to make sure I was right, that's why I finished the words. You will notice my A looks a little bit tiny different than the what's actually stitched. I added one little extra stitch on the top because the way it was charted, it kind of looked like a D, to be honest with you. So I just added one little extra stitch to make it look more like an A. So this stitch got over 500 stitches this week. For Bringo, it's only 100 that you need, or what hour, you know, if you're not a counter. But I find when I stitch on these Quakers, this one, spring and summer, I really get into it. Especially over here was fun because I wasn't stuck. Like, this took me several sessions to do because that is a humongous element. And, you know, you just kept going and going and there was more to stitch. But over here, it was just so fun because I could bop around and do some other stuff. And now we know that's the complete, I've got 3 corners done. So we know exactly what the sizing looks like. So much fun. I'm getting a feeling that I'm going to end up with the middle last, which is fine. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other. It just seems the way it's going. I do want to get some more of this seaweed border done, and then we'll see. I am not doing, do you see the clouds up here? I'm not doing those because my fabric here, which is 18 count Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. I'm not sure if I said that or not. Do you ever say things in your head and then, I was saying this with Mo, I said something and I said to him, I said, I don't know if I just said it in my head or if I've already said this to you. Because I do, for 10 years, I was an only child, and then, you know, significantly older than my half siblings. And so I had conversations in my head all the time, and I still do that. So sometimes if I repeat something right after I've said it, it's just because I don't know if I was thinking it or if I actually said it to you. And, you know, my brain is a bit foggier now that I've hit my 50s. So sometimes I'm just not sure where the thoughts are in that head. Anyway, Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. As you can see, it's almost got like that cloudy appearance. So I am going to do the sunshine, but then I'm going to let the fabric speak for itself and not stitch the clouds. So there we are. Oh, I love this one. I am considering using this one for, so I do a rotation, right, between Summer Quaker, Spring Quaker, Black Vintage Sampler, and now Fish and Chips. And so Black Vintage Sampler was last week's rotation. In fact, I did a little bit more, so you'll see that a little bit later. And then before that was Fish and Chips. So this one may become the rotation for this week, and I try to get 500 stitches at some point during the week into it, and then go to the next one. Spring Quaker, you're going to see 2 potentially, because I'll talk about that in a bit. So be prepared, you may see Summer Quaker again. Okay, moving on. My next one was, what was the prompt? Oh, your favorite holiday. I would say Christmas is probably my favorite holiday. I love all of the lights, and I love the music and the family and the gatherings and the sentiment and everything that kind of goes with it, kind of thing. So that time of year, it just seems so bright and hopeful, especially as you're getting into the dreary winter. And I always like that. So this is my oldest project. I looked because I was trying to figure out what fabric it was on for my notes here, and it is listed as the first thing on my parade notes because it is my oldest now. And this is Kringles by Little House Needleworks, and I'm making it a 2-story building, not a 3, so it'll look a little different. And I have this. I'm not even sure you're going to be able to see what I stitched. In person you can see it, but it does fade in. And you really almost can't see it on the model or on the model stitch here. On either side of the word Kringles, there's snowflakes that are stitched there. And they're stitched in the ecru that the snow is stitched on. So I said, well, why don't I just pull out some ecru étoile? Thank you. I'm thanking myself in my head. I'm sure one of you were probably yelling at me anyway. So I did the 2 snowflakes on each side of the word Kringles in the ecru étoile. So I did do my Bringo what I needed to for Bringo. I was also using the E for ecru as part of the acrostic from Crafts and Books. I do not have a full 200 stitches yet. I think the next thing though I'm working on is treasure braid, the sparkly stuff, because I'm still working. I want to get before I figure out what's going underneath in these front windows, I want to get the chandeliers done. And I like working with a toile. I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me at all, but it's kind of a little bit different than your regular DMC. And I just wasn't in the mind space to pull out some more sparkly stuff and kind of work with that. I just wanted some of my plain old DMC. So this one will come out again this month if I'm going to use it for that prompt. Now, I haven't formally said I was going to on my little notes there. It just says ecru. So if something else comes up that has ecru, I might just do that instead. But we do have snowflakes now. So we are getting progress. No, I doubt this one will be finished this year for Christmas. I'm not putting that on myself because there's a lot of sparkly, and I find that that's a bit more fiddly and difficult for me. And you all have been so helpful helping me look for a Santa to put in one of the rooms, to put him in a chair, to give away toys. So I'm still in the process of working on all of that and figuring it out. Because if I find a piece, is it the right size? I may have to change the colors to match. So that has got some work to do on it that I don't necessarily see it being finished by the end of this year. But that's okay. It'll get done when it gets done. Okay, moving on. So on Tuesday, the prompt was something related to music. And I thought, this is fantastic. This one is called Blue Rhapsody. Now, I am right? Rhapsody is a type of music. That'd be hilarious if I totally got that wrong. But for whatever reason, that's in my head. So that's what I used for it. And this is from Rosewood Manors. And this was a stitch along this was a piece I started to stitch on as a stitch along that was started by Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, for her birthday in December. And she said, basically stitch on something that by Rosewood Manor. It could be anything. And the hashtag is rosewoodmanorbdaysal if you'd like to join along. And I'm just going to write Beth's name down so I remember to link her. Beth had a video this past week, actually. Beth does them every other week. And this week is a video week. So lots of fun. You could go see what she's stitching. So that's what it is. I love this. I did keep the 2 blues. I am not using Weeks Dye Works. I used one of the blues was the DMC suggestion. Not from here. There's no DMC suggestions. It only gives you the 2 Weeks Dye Works. But I found a chart. The second one, I wasn't loving it, so I did change it. And I'm pretty sure in my notes I put down this. If I forget and I need to put that down, just let me know. So, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fold it in a couple different ways. Or I'll fold it this way. It's easier to hold it. Here. Well, that looked kind of silly. Here it is. And this time around, I decided I wanted to focus on the butterfly. I know I could have finished this, but I said, that butterfly is beautiful. Wouldn't that be a beautiful stitch on its own? I think so. I don't know if they do other examples and things. The butterfly is not one of them. See on the back, they show some other ideas that you can do. But I think that would be gorgeous on its own. So that's what it looks like. I did mostly the darker blue. There is a bit of the lighter blue in there. Excuse me. This is done on 18 count Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. So you can see, I think the blue is going to look really pretty on this. So, yeah. I'm not sure if this wouldn't come out for, oh, it did come out for the acrostic from Beth too, from Crafts and Books. It was the R, because I could either use Rhapsody or Rosewood Manor. So I did use this. I kind of doubled it up for challenges, which I think I really like doing that. So if you do challenges in a couple different groups, find pieces that fit in a couple challenges. That way you're not driving yourself crazy trying to figure out what to do for each and every one separately. Now this next one, oh, I do have to, this is the first digital I have to show you. I didn't do as many digital patterns this week. Let's see. So the prompt for Wednesday was something related to classroom studies. And I thought this would be fun. Literature, right? Some of these, I remember reading The Telltale Heart from Poe in middle school. I think I had nightmares for weeks. But this is the Haunted Library Stitch Along from Lola Crow. I said, well, that's perfect. That relates to classroom studies. People read some of these books for school. And it's funny, when I look for that picture in my iPad to show you, I'm always looking for the purple base. And I always miss it the first time around because it's not purple. It was stitched on a neutral. But here we go. This wild and crazy fabric is 18 count Imagine from Mystic Fabrics. And I'm so interested and excited to see as I get myself going. Obviously, you can see it becomes much more mellowed in a lot of places. I mean, this is not going to be like this when it's stitched. Down here, there will be some within there, but it's going to be more mellow, and this will then be cut down to size or whatever, and this will be scrapbooked. I got a little worried because I was working on, I think this is supposed to be the Grim Reaper, and I was starting to go closer and closer to the bottom, and I'm fine, but as usual, I had to count what was left and then count here just to make sure. There's something about that outer outline, the gray. You can see here the Haunted Librarian is supposed to be like that too. She's got a mistake in that gray somewhere, and so I've kind of put her to the wayside. I had a mistake in this one too. For some reason, that color, I have trouble with it. But I did pull out those stitches. Let me do this because I didn't work on that side at all. I did pull out those stitches, so there was some kind of frogging time in my stitching for this one, and then I restitched it. And so we have a lot more of this done, and then we were really working on this kind of figure here. I keep trying to decide which way I want to go with the stitching, and I just keep jumping around on this, as you can see. I was going to tackle the librarian, and in fact, I think I had that color out, but then I saw it was over here, and I said, I'm just going to do that because I'm not sure where my mistake is. So, you know, we're just going to wait. I do have a habit sometimes of procrastinating. I'm putting off. All right. The last prompt that you'll see, and then I have a few more projects that were just because projects. The last prompt you'll see, though, is from yesterday, and it was, I can't read my own writing. Oh, something to do with transportation. Now, this didn't have a lot of stitching because I had a few other things I was stitching yesterday. It's the Love Boat Sampler from Ardith Designs. And I really want to get some progress on this. So this one sat pretty much last year. Well, again, I had not made a working copy. And I have to say, I don't know how you do it. So if you don't do digital, but you do paper patterns, how do you not do something like this with or how do you do this without a working copy? There are so many little itty bitty pieces, and I did quite a bit of it, but I was getting frustrated. So I did make some working copies yesterday, and I think I'm going to enjoy it much more now that I have that. I did go with the color scheme of the I don't think it's not the called for, but it is the color scheme that was in the model, and there are boats within all over, so that's how it fit my prompt. But there it is so far. This is done on an 18 count. It's called Lighthearted, and it's from Dying for Cross Stitch. Now, this was one of the colors of fabric that I got before she started to. Now, a lot of her colors, and I don't know in this case if this one is, but a lot of her newer colors, you can get a light, medium, or dark version of them. At this point in time, when I ordered this, you could only get what was the color showing kind of thing. So I just jump around on this, to be honest with you. And I did my requirements, but I did want to stitch a bit more on my full coverage, and I did go to my neighborhood stitching or needlework. It's really needlework because other people crochet in the like group. And I didn't want to bring this because there was just too much counting and everything. So this didn't get much more than what was called for. Maybe in February I can pull this out with the pinks and the reds. I've got some ideas for potentially doing just kind of a low-key, easier sort of game or challenge in my Facebook group, just to kind of if people want to just throw their hat in and try a challenge, or if you like challenges, it would be, kind of low-key, so it wouldn't be a lot of extra on your plate. So this one could definitely it screams February colors, right? So I should pull that out again. I don't remember what my goal was on that one. So speaking of full coverage, I finished my 10-day rotation on this piece yesterday. So I'm doing the wrong arrow. It is the last time you'll see this one on this rotation. This is a retired piece, so I'm actually showing you, the only thing I could find was a picture of the diamond painting version of it. Mine is a mini. I don't know what this was, but I'm doing mini Watching the World Go By. It was charted by Heaven Earth Designs when I bought it. The artwork is by Lucy Pittaway, but it has been retired. I don't know if this one has gotten into, Lucy Pittaway works with Bothy Threads now, and you can only get kits as far as I can tell. I don't know. I've never been to the Bothy Threads site, to be honest with you. And I don't know if this one's been translated to a kit. So this is what I have. So this is where I'm finishing my rotation. I meant to add it all up to see what I got this time around, these 10 days. I'm guessing about 1,200 stitches in the 10 days. I try to do about 100 a day, and then sometimes it goes over. So that's what it looks like full. So that it's not super wide. And then let's fold this over. I told you last week, I thought, I'm going to work on the green. I think yesterday I worked on some green, but when I pulled it back out last week, I was really kind of drawn to filling in some of the confetti up here by the clouds. So I did a lot, and see, you're not even going to be able to tell right now, but there's a lot of kind of whitish stitching there. It's the lighter cloud. I did all of that through there, through up here, and then I started to fill in confetti, and then I worked a little bit down here. So it did get a bunch of extra stitching, and except for a couple of stray open spots, everything is filled in confetti-wise on all of those main big blocks. That's exciting. I'm really happy about that. So my full coverage, 18 count white Aida, so far they're all been 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. So that's what I like to do. I do want to try one on 20 count, I think, with, I don't know if I do 1 or 2 strands. I've seen people do it both ways, so I'm not really sure what I would do, but I thought it might be fun to try that, especially if I want a piece to be a little bit smaller. I know a lot of people like 22 count. I don't know. I have to see. Maybe I'd try something like that at some point, but I do like my 18, I have to say. Alrighty. Now this one, I'm going to try to work on this one for the rest of the month. I treated it this week as a strand a day kind of thing. And so it would get I think it only got pretty much a strand a day. This is my Maryland Blue Crab. It's part of the Chesapeake Bay Treasures series that Ardith Designs did. And I actually bought it as a kit. You can buy it as a kit still, but the fabric available is different now. It's not the same fabric as far as I can tell. You could also buy the pattern as a PDF. So if you just want the pattern, I did look on the website and that is available as well. So super exciting. I got the crab part done. I was watching, Stitching Mommy yesterday. She had a video come out on Tuesday this week, and she was talking about how let me just make sure her name's down there. She had restarted, I think there was a restart to the project. She restarted a project because she wasn't really loving, I think it was the fabric in that case. But she was talking about how if you haven't stitched on something for a while or whatever, identify why, right? Is it because you just don't, your tastes have changed. Maybe you're not into the pattern anymore. That's fine. Maybe it's the fabric you're using. Maybe it's the colors, whatever it is. Identify it and decide whether or not you want to continue working on it. So in this case, I hadn't stitched on this pretty much last year at all. Or if I did, very little. And the kit came with silk and they suggested 1 strand. So I was a little, that was something new for me when I did that. But I you know, I got that figured out. But what I hadn't done was I hadn't learned at that point in time to really make working copies. And so that made all the difference. I can't tell you how easy this became to stitch. I had hardly any done when I first came back to this again. And now look, the crab part's done. And I think I'll have enough. I'm concerned because you get a certain amount of the silk in the kit. What I will do is I'll do the outline first. My goal was first to just get the crab done and see where I was silk-wise, you know, fiber-wise. And then I'll do the outline. And then if I have, and I probably will, I may not add all of the little extra doodads because there's a lot there. But I think, well, you know, I'm looking at it because I'm looking, what do I want to do with this? I could make this into a cute little summer sort of ornament sort of thing. They have the kit to do it as a pillow, but I don't sew, so that's not gonna work. But I'm thinking about, I want to see what the size is with the border to see what size that would be. Or the other option would be to do all the little kind of stuff around it, because it does look a little kind of plain here, and make it into an ornament sort of thing that way. I guess I'll see. But the long and the short is I do have extra fiber here with this, the extra silk, so I will add some more to it. It won't just be that. And this is 18 count, and it was the kit fabric. That's what came with it. So, super exciting, a kit with 18 count. That doesn't happen very often. Alrighty, now this was last week's focus of my 4 focus pieces, and I picked it up again on Saturday. I joined a Zoom, is it Stitch Across the Pond? I think that's the name of the group, and they do a monthly Zoom. And I had heard Sarah from Sew Me Sarah talking about it, and she really enjoys those Zooms. So I said, oh, that would be kind of cool. And Sarah's just an awesome person anyway. So I was like, oh, maybe she'll be on there too. It'd be fun just to say hi. And she was. But it was a lot of fun. I met some new people. You know, there was some people I had recognized, some I didn't. And there was people from all over, which was fantastic. It was just a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed that. And I figured I would pull out something that, you know, with me and Zooming, I have to find things that are going to work for Zoom, right? So I did pull out and did some more on black vintage just to give it a little bit extra time over and above what. In fact, I stitched this on Friday night too. So it got work Friday and Saturday. So here it is as a whole. I love showing this big piece. This is being done on an 18 count, what is it, Rainy Day from Bestitchme. And then I have stuff to fill in on the top. There's not much backstitch. I was saying all the backstitch, there isn't that much. But the backstitch I'll wait till the end because there is just so little. But this is the bottom area that I did work on. So I'm getting much closer to having the submarine done. This, I don't know, have I been using this for categories? I don't think so, because I don't think there's many W sort of things in here, to be honest with you. I was thinking, ooh, I wasn't sure. I had to look it up. I didn't know what a waistcoat was because I thought, okay, something man-made and, you know, the gentleman's wearing the coat, but that's more of a vest. This was not a waistcoat as far as I could tell. So I wasn't able to use this for categories after all. But let's go back over this way. I did just have fun filling in some more of this. I did fill in, I think I filled in some of the border. So we continue to work on that. And then I know I did some of the submarine and bits and pieces. So that's what it looks like. That's now going to be put away. So we have summer Quaker coming up, then spring, and then fish and chips. So this will be a little bit before you see this again, unless it comes up for some sort of prompt. I mean, categories, there's always so many things here that it could very easily end up getting picked, or any of the other sort of games or challenges I do. So we will see on that one. I have no idea why I picked to stitch this one. I stitched on this one. I think over the weekend. No clue why, besides the fact that it's a nice stitch. It's a fun stitch. I think, you know what it was? I was supposed to be traveling Saturday and Sunday. Oh, I just lost my notes. Let me see if I can at least pull them over here. So, oh boy. Gosh. There we go. Let's see if I can bend over. Excuse me for 1 minute. Without the notes. I don't always know what I'm doing here. I'll just put them over here instead. I was supposed to be traveling, and I pulled out some easy stitches that would be easy for not being at home, right? And so this was one of them. And I think because I didn't end up going on the road, I ended up just stitching it anyway because I said, you know what? It's fun, and I want to stitch it. So this one's Harvest Star Tea. It is, you can find it from So Much to Love, and Michelle Palmer is the artist of these. And there are 5 in the series. This is number, I think, 3, it says. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. And the bird's done. That area's done. I love the colors in the bird. Isn't that pretty? And I'm almost done. This was another one I had to count to the bottom, especially because I have the selvage here. So I was a little worried. It'll be scrapbook, so it should be fine. I have a little bit more here. I have the darker color and then one more bit, tiny bit of the pumpkin. And then all that's left is the saucer that the pumpkin is sitting in. This is done on, oops, I have to look over here, 18 count Ocean Air from Fox and Rabbit, which I really like the Fox and Rabbit Ada. It's really quite nice, actually. So that's what it looks like. Look at the bird, though. I love the coloring. Such a great job. I do have one more of these. I don't know if I would do all 5, but I do like the other one, so we'll see. Okay, I have one more piece for this this week. I think it's 13 I hit. See, that's the thing when you start doing these challenges and the like, you get to touch a lot of projects, which I really actually like. It snowed. When did it snow? I'd have to look and see when I stitched this. I can't remember what day it snowed, but it did snow last week. No, it wasn't last Friday. Whenever it was. So I worked on Signs Series Summer from Twin Peak Primitives. If you are new, I like to be contrary because I'm not a fan of winter. It's my least favorite of the 4 seasons. So every time it snows, I stitch something summery because I want summer back. So that this year, this is the one I picked. What did I do last year? For those few snowflakes we got, I think I saw 2 snowflakes all winter. Oh, the Citrovia piece on the beach. That's the one I did. So here I am. This is being stitched on an 18 count Caramel Macchiato by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I'm assuming this is kind of like a father and child. Maybe. It's an adult and a child at the very least. And so I got most of their bodies. They have no heads yet. The fish is done, which will be on the, so they're both holding fishing poles. And so from the child, the fishing pole, the fish will go on. And I think I finished this last element here. So up top, I have pretty much just the heads and tops of the adult and the child. And then there's some seagulls, which I'm going to wait and not stitch just to see if I want them. I think I'll do them, but I'm going to wait. And then I have one more word here. I had messed up, so I had to pull that out and go with that. And then I get to start working my way down on the next one. This is a great stitch for chunks of color. So you change colors, but you work in chunks of color. So it's really kind of cool. I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. I don't know how many or what are in these series. I call this one Summer Signs, but it does say Signs Series. So not sure on that. So for all the colors, are they called 4 colors? I haven't changed anything up. So that's what it looks like. Now it is snowing, or it was snowing. If it still is snowing, it's very, 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 very light. So this will get, but I did see snow. So this will get some time today. I don't know how much, because although, it's whip frenzy. So it'll get at least 100 to 200 stitches because I'll be working on whip frenzy over the next couple of days. I'll talk about that when I get to plans. which I think is where we're heading. So let me, everything is falling today. I am kind of a classic, if I can knock it over, drop, trip over it, do whatever, I do. Mo just shakes his head at me sometimes. Like, there's a lot of, whenever I've got something, it seems to always, I always used to either drip or drop or something on the floor, and I'll always be like, dag nabbit. And Mo's like, what'd you drop now? Because that's my signal that I have something that I have to pick up. But anyway, plans. What's going on with plans? So Bringo, the call for Bringo today was favorite designer. Now, I don't know about you, but there's no way I could say I have a favorite designer at all. So I just figured, you know what? I'm going to be stitching my Quakers from Lila Studio. So let's just make one of those my favorite. And I made Spring Quaker the one that would be for this challenge. So you will see Spring Quaker next week. Like I said, I do think I want to do Summer Quaker while it's still out and do some more on that one as a focus, because this past week was Black Vintage, I believe. And so, but Summer Quaker got a good chunk. So maybe I can get Summer Quaker some more, and then Spring Quaker can be the next for my prompts, as well as maybe then the following week. Because I would really like to, in looking forward of another big piece that I'd like to start, I have to start getting some of these finished. So Bringo, that's all I know. Bringo goes, the calls go to the 25th. And then you have, 6 days to make up anything you might not have been able to stitch. I have kept up with all of them because 100 stitches for me is, can work. And I didn't travel. I was not going to bring the pieces that got called over the last weekend. I was going to wait and do a catch-up stitch with them. But since I didn't travel, I was able to work on those. So I should be good so far. And then that will be next time I see you. So see, having my calendar here is useful. The 25th is next Thursday. So they should all be wrapped up, unless for some reason I didn't get to stitch something, by next video that I see you. So that's fun. I think actually Spring Quaker might be still twice to come, but this one and another one. So it could get some good work there. So we have that. Scattergories is part of Whip Warriors, which is a closed group. They open up mid-November to mid-December every year. If you want to join, keep an eye out for that. And so this month, the letter is W. I won't get all 12. I never do, and I don't worry about it. But I do have a couple ideas for some that I haven't done yet. So there might be some scattergory words. They did it differently this year, but they also do something called Whip Frenzy 4 times a year. And last year, it always coincided with 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, but it was for the weekend. This year, it's a week long, and I can't do a week-long frenzy. If I did 100 stitches and then changed, you'd see something like 40 projects, right? Maybe not that many, but between 30 and 40. And no lie, because I try to do 500 stitches a day. So in 7 days, that would be 35 pieces. It would be a mini whip parade. It would be half a whip parade. So, and I like the shortness of it to make it a frenzy. That's what I enjoy about it. So I have not started it yet. This afternoon will be the start of Whip Frenzy for me, and I will do it just like I'm doing 24 hours of cross stitch. Friday after my video, Saturday and Sunday, and that's it. That's how I consider my Whip Frenzy. So the goal is 100 to 200 stitches per project, and then you change up and you see how many projects you can touch. So that will be this weekend. 24 hours of cross stitch. If you've not heard of it before, Jen Lee is the one who came up with the idea. If you search it out, there'll be lots of information on it. There is actually a Facebook group with it too that she moderates, or whatever the word is. That you right now it's usually quiet for a lot of the month, except there is an acrostic, but during 24 hours of cross stitch weekends, you get to see lots of pretty pictures because people are posting what they're stitching. So that will coincide with Whip Frenzy. And then I'm looking at my notes here. Oh, I do have potentially some new starts coming up. I did want to start this one this month, and I kept waffling. There we go. Winter's Blessing, right? Winter Blessings. And this is a 2-part one from Lila Studio. I've already stitched fall. So winter was next. I was going back and forth on fabric. I thought I'd found something, then I changed my mind. I looked at something else, but I've changed my mind again. So this would have gotten started if I had a better idea of what I was doing this week. But so I'm hoping to get that started and work on that and have it done this winter. Okay, it'll probably be done as spring hits, but that's okay. I keep things hanging up longer than possible. I have across the way from me, some of my St. Patrick's and Irish stitches up, like hanging kind of ornamenty type things all year. So this could stay extra. So I do want to give this one a start now that I think I know what I'm doing. And then if you watch Amy, again, Renewing Stitches, she this past Tuesday, she talked about songbirds. Remember the Cottage Garden series, the Songbirds series? And if you watch her this week, she's going to have some information about it. So I don't have a lot of songbirds, but I do have one that I'm going to stitch. But I have to get my info from Amy. So check her out so that you can find out all the details with that, because I know she would love to see what songbird you were stitching if you wanted to stitch a songbird. Alrighty, so that's for sure. And then next Friday is the start of, and I don't think I have a quick ready picture, the, I don't think I have, see, this is why I need to write down the stitch along tags. Oh, you know what? I might have it earlier in the book or in the month. It is the hashtag 2024 Quaker flag sal. Excuse me. And let me see if I have that in these pictures here. Yes, I do. I'm stitching the Quaker flag, the U.S. flag, but it's the different Quaker flags from Vivsters. And if you go to Wombat Hollow Crafts or Divanali Designs, I never say that right. I will link both of them down below. I should put a little section about that. I'm going to put Quaker flag on my notes here, and I'm going to put a little section that gives the information for the stitch along. It starts the 26th, but I'm sure you could join in any time if you were interested. I think I have my fabric, so I'm so excited. I will show you that next Friday. And I did change out the red, the called for red. I'm changing that one. And I think I really like it with my fabric. I think it's going to work. So more to come on that. But we do have some new starts coming up to end up this month. And that was it. Those I think, unless something pops up, whether it's a digital or a regular, as far as I can tell, that's what, because next week, we're only we don't have much more of January left. What's today? So today is the 19th. So yeah, so we really only have like a week and a half left. And then I'll start thinking about my February starts. So that's it. That's the plans as far as I can tell. I would love to know, are you joining in on any of the challenges? I still haven't finished the acrostic from Crafts and Books yet. I'm almost there. So I'll try to see what I can maybe coordinate with Bringo and finish that one up. I'm getting close. I only have 3 letters left, I think. So we'll see. We'll see if I get that done. Happy Mail. The trading cards are happy mail because I get to see all the pretty cards. I mean, obviously, they're going to be traded around to all of you, but I consider them happy mail because they're just fun. The mailman's going to love me, I'm sure, but that's okay because a lot of times he just goes whizzing by. So I like when he stops because that means, ooh, I might have some fun mail to look at. I got an email and a notice from a very wonderful person. I didn't ask if I could say her name, so I'm not going to say her name. But you know who you are. You are incredibly kind and generous and just a wonderful person. And she sent me a thing saying that she saw these charts. She asked the designer, could she buy them and have them sent to me? And the designer said yes. And I'm just... Cross-stitch people are some of the most wonderful, kindest people. This was just out of the blue, and I just thank you. I thank you so much. And so I wanted to show you all, these adorable pieces. They're all little gnomes because, I'm getting to be known for my gnomes, right? And on this one, I did leave, if I hold it, you might be able to see the designer name. I'm going to let's see if we can show you there. I'm not going to, Arena I'm not going to say the last name because I will not do it justice and not do it correctly, but that's what it looks like. Look at this one. So this is Gnome with Boat. Isn't that adorable? So cute. Then we have Gnome with, I think it's Gnome with Seahorse is the title of this one. Super cute. They're all summer gnomes. And Gnome with Ball. But look at that octopus. How adorable. So thank you so much for that. It was just your kindness and just thinking of me, just really, I'm speechless. I don't really have the words, but just know it. My deep felt gratitude for that. Thank you. So that was my happy mail. I actually did a little, well, it's one shopping trip. I shopped at 123 Stitch, and every once in a while I do, a good 123 Stitch order just for fun, right? I go through my wish list and I see, and then of course there's always something else I might be looking for. So that was the case here. And so I'm going to show you what I bought. I am having so much fun with the white floche that I ended up picking up 4 other colors. So we have 504. Is this upside down? 367. That's that one. So they're DMC, so they follow the DMC colors. 210 and 319. Now the greens, I bought those specifically with something in mind. There's something I want to do that I want to do monochromatic, and I want to use a green. And I don't know, these were just pretty. Now with the floche with 18 count, I am able to use 1 strand, so it's really kind of cool. It's a thicker, you just pull it out and you use it as you pull it, and the 1 strand works really, really nice on the 18 count, and that's my favorite count. So having said that, and no, I'm not going away from 18 count. In fact, I have a couple 16s that I also want to play around with, but I'm really enjoying some of my 20 count stitching. So what I decided to do is 123 Stitch, you can get, some of them are hand dyed, but it's not, I'm not kind of going and trying to look and have things custom made from places. Maybe if I ever remember and I'm awake for Friday night fight night, I'll look to see if she has any 20 counts or whatever. But for the most part, it's 18 count that holds my heart. But I wanted some kind of basic colors in the 20 that I thought might be kind of cool, because then I might be able to find things if I want to make things a little bit smaller. That's what intrigues me so much, is the making it a little bit smaller bit, especially with trading cards. So 3 of them are fiber on a whim, because the 123 has a lot of that. This one's called Brick. I'm not a fan of the Picture This Plus and 18 count, so I'm pretty sure there's 20 count as well, but I didn't even really look at those because I find Picture This Plus for me just too soft. So I thought this was kind of, if I was looking for some sort of, see, it's much darker. Oh, here we go. That's the right. If I was looking for something that I wanted kind of a brownish sort of look to, I pulled that one. Then, of course, you need a gray, right? And so I picked this one. This one's Slate. Yeah, and that's probably, it's a light gray. Just, kind of a nice basic. So if you wanted some stuff on there, I figured for now, the 20 counts, I could do basic. And then if I want crazy colors, then I'll worry about it. And then, I had to buy a blue, right? So I went with this one, which is Cobalt, which is super, super pretty. I always have to have blue, right? That's the one I have to have in every color. And finally, the neutral of neutrals, Vintage Country Mocha. Well, 20 count Vintage Country Mocha. This, for me, it's one of those that it's that old standby. If you really want a neutral, look at 20 count, or look at Vintage Country first. And so I picked up a piece of that. That was all. The only fabric I got was the 20 counts. I did get a notice that pretty soon Bestitchme's Fabric of the Month will be shipping. They've had some bad weather, so I think she's a little behind in the shipping. But I doubt that'll come next week, though. I think it'll be the week after. Now, this is not exciting, but I did want to show you, 123 Stitch does have the interfacing that I use for scrapbooking and for trading cards. and it is the 950F, Pellin 950F, and you can get a yard for something like $3.99. So I always, it's now when I place a 1, 2, 3 stitch order, a lot of times I try to get some needles, which I did, but I'm not showing you because it's just my regular needles. And I'm lately been trying to pick up a yard of this as well, just because that way I have, whenever I want to add some interfacing, which I do want to do some because I want to get some scrapbook finishes. So that's always useful. And then I bought some charts. I love cardinals, so I saw this quirky Quaker cardinal. I said, oh, let's get that one. So I did get this one. And then I don't have any intention of necessarily stitching them in full as little pieces like this, but they would be adorable for either ornaments or most especially trading cards, which is why I got them. They're really tight in their plastic, so I'm not going to keep them or take them out. And it's Crocetta Go-Go, and it's the La Finestra del Tempo. Speaking of Somi, Sarah, she stitched all of these. Did she do it last year? Partially last year, I think partially 2022, maybe. And she did one a month as kind of a stitch along kind of thing for herself. And so if you want to see beautiful, beautiful finishes and endings of these, go watch Sarah. So I have the first 4 months. They ended up having, at one point, these, I put them on my wish list at 1, 2, 3, and they didn't have them in stock. Now they do. So I bought all 3 of those for the year. And for example, I'm not sure if I'm doing any more, and I don't know how easy you'd be able to see. There's a cute little penguin on the January one. I don't know if I'm doing any more trading cards for the swap stitching anymore. Because the swaps don't go out till March 1st, I have the benefit of having a little bit longer to stitch. So what I might do, the one I'm working on now, I'm not sure I'm going to send it out. I'll need your opinion on it when I get done. But if not, that little penguin is adorable. So I might think about doing something like that. There's a snowman on here as well, which is really kind of cute. So I just thought these were adorable little pieces that you could, like I said, make either little cards, trading cards, or ornaments from. What I'm really thrilled to see, some people are really embracing the trading card thing. So trading cards were started back, I think, in 1999, and the paper crafting world and the art world and all that really, really jumped on it. And they swapped them a lot, and swapping them in person as well. So I know some people who are going to different types of retreats, cross-stitch retreats or classes or whatever, are thinking about making cards and swapping them with their table mates, or, giving them out, right? Because, people like to give things out at retreats or whatever. But how fun would it be to make some sort of, especially if, say, the retreat had a theme or something or other, how fun to be able to make something that would kind of be a memory of that and hand them out to people at your table or whatever. That was not my original idea. I've seen people talking about doing that, and what a wonderful idea. So I'm so thrilled that the concept of trading cards, a lot of people are using them, and I didn't come up with it as a stitched. I remember watching, it's Amy Clarissa. What is her? She lives in Alaska. She has an Etsy shop. Amy, what is your Flosstube? We haven't seen a video from her in quite some time. I'm going to put a note. If nothing else, I'm going to put her Etsy shop because I love her, the little floss beds. I use those with my stitching all the time. Amy Clarissa. I'm going to figure it out. I'll write down. I can't remember her Flosstube at the moment. I think because it's been a while since she put something out. But I remember her doing, it was probably 2022. You know how in, say, February, March, there's 100 days of crafting of some sort. And she was trying to do 100 trading cards in that time frame. And I don't remember if she got all 100 done. She was plugging along on them. And I thought, what a fabulous idea these trading cards would be. And that got me thinking about it. And then that's when I started trading in 2022 with other people. So, none of this is my original idea whatsoever, whether it's the trading cards themselves or the stitched part of it. They're very, very little is actually. If you go back far enough, somebody's already thought of these things. But I am so thrilled that many of you are enjoying it, is my whole point. Yes, I jumped on the bandwagon. This is Santa's House from Cottage Garden Samplings. I am loving this series. Did you see today is Friday, and I follow Cottage Garden both on Facebook and on Instagram, and she's got a really cool bird one, but she also, the third house is the greenhouse, and it's pretty. I myself would do it on another fabric, and I think it would pop a bit more, but it's kind of pretty. I think so far the castle has been my favorite, but I love this one. I'm thinking of stitching this one. Sit down for it. Yes, on blue. I know, you're shocked. A blue that would show the snowflakes and all the white. I don't know when I'll start this one. I'm not a seasonal. I don't care when I stitch things according to the seasons. But I did get this. And because they happen to have it, I did pick up the castle. I don't know if I'll pick up all 12. We'll see as they go whether or not I like them. I'm thinking for the castle, I would love to stitch this one on kind of a purplish. So you see here it's more gray, but I think if I could do like a purpley gray, I think those colors would pop really well. And I do want something, there's a lot of white up here and everything, so I do want something that would pop. So I'm thinking purplish-y somewhere. I know, that's really distinct, but I did pick that one up. And again, I don't know. I don't care about stitching them in order. I don't care when or how I stitch them. They'll just, as the mood strikes, I'll stitch them. And then, I know, you're shocked, right? I did pick up Autumn Quaker. Is that what it's called? Autumn. Oh, it's called Autumn is as Joyful. It's actually not called Autumn Quaker. Interesting. From Lila Studio. Now, I am not a big fan of the quote. The quote is, Autumn is as joyful and sweet as an untimely end. Now, on the back of the pattern here, she does give information. She says the quote is from Remy de Grammont, who was a French poet and novelist. But there's a much bigger quote here, or information about, I think the rest of this is attributed to the same person. And one of the things is, fall is a time of preparation for rebirth. I like that so much better. Or something else about autumn. There's a quote about autumn about how you learn, like, you know, when the leaves go, but it shows you that, I can't remember the quote now, but there's so many other things that I think would be just more pleasant for me. Now, it's short. It's only within this acorn, right? And it's the 3 lines. So I have to make sure it's something that will fit. But I am going to change the quote out. Now, this is all charted in, as far as I can see, it's DMC. So that's kind of cool. I thought for sure, given some of this stuff, that there might be some very overdyes, but nope, it's all DMC. And she did say it is inspired from the earlier Quaker season-themed designs. I guess she just decided she wanted to name it something else. So this is the piece. I need to finish one of the 4 in my rotation. Black Vintage is the closest, right? Before I start this. So maybe this year, it would be nice to start this year. This gives me plenty of time to think about what fabric I want to stitch it on. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure on this one. I have been obviously using some sort of colors, maybe like a friendship green from Fabrics by Stephanie or something. I would do a floss toss, but it'll give me time to figure that part out. But I do want to try to get one of those other big ones done before I really jump into starting another big giant one. So that was my 1, 2, 3 stitch order. I did a nice little order there. So that was my, I do have, and I have a plan. I wasn't sure what I was going to do this year for my, for Megan and Connor, for my kids, for their Christmas ornaments, but I have an idea that might be kind of cool, and I could start it now because, this year I did kind of ones that were kind of some stuff about their interest, or, well, Megan had adopted the cat, but I think this would be kind of neat, and it would relate to them. So more to come on that. I haven't bought the stuff yet, but I have an idea, and I think it'll be kind of neat. So, giveaway. This is the giveaway from this week. I kept it in here, so it's nice and safe in its original packaging. I have not taken this out. Love is in the Air, Time for All Seasons, series number 2 from Cottage Garden again. Cottage Garden and their series. They really do a nice job. So I asked you to say the word key, and let me move these around a little bit. You all are very creative. A lot of, you don't have to. You can just say the word, or sometimes I'll ask you, in a future, there's going to be one where I'm just going to ask you to do a number or whatever. But you're very clever and kind of cool with some of the wording you do with some of these. I enjoy reading those. All right. Me, I'd just be kind of like, I don't know what to say. Let me pull out. Who do I have here? Ah, Joanne. Joanne the Eclectic Stitcher. Joanne has a Flosstube. So you know what? I'm going to link her down below. Because you know what? We like to support other Flosstubers. We want to support, not compete, right? So Joanne the Eclectic Stitcher. Joanne, I don't have your address. If you could reach out to me with your address, I'll get this off to you. Congratulations. I'm going to put your name right in here. Can't wait to see you stitch it. No pressure, obviously, whatever. So we'll put that in there. Alrighty, so I am so excited. I just realized, when I was looking this morning, I just hit, and I think I talked about it either a video ago or 2, and I never thought that the numbers would jump up this. I hit 5,000 subscribers. I cannot believe that. That is, thank you to each and every one of you who has hit subscribe. You are amazing. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. So I'm not going to do a video this week, giveaway this week, because I want to do something for 5,000, which means probably 5 giveaways. So I need to save my giveaway money. So let me think about it this coming week and check back next week. And hopefully I'll have some ideas. And maybe next week we'll do the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. Again, thank you. It just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm just amazed and floored and grateful for each and every one of you. And that's just all again, I'm speechless. All right, so that's all the stitching stuff. If you're heading out, thank you so much for being here. Some quick life stuff, and then I'll let you kind of get on. I don't know if the rest of you are having bad weather, so it might be a good weekend for floss tubes and stitching, right? Along with the whole 24-hour thing. So, it's all mixing in. So this past weekend, when I saw you last Friday, I talked about how Connor was supposed to go back up to school, which they did. But what we were going to do, so Connor has a car at school, and the trip from, we kind of use Connecticut, where we have family, as as kind of the stopping and starting point. Connor goes to school in Massachusetts, but if you're going to go by, it's kind of nice because it's a long trip all the way up that way. So kind of, you make a stop in Connecticut, see family, stay over, and then go the rest of the way the next day or whatever. So Connor has never done that trip, Connecticut, say, to Delaware themselves. And Mo was a little less ready to let Connor make that trip than I was. So Mo said, I would like to just one more time be with Connor in the car, drive up, and have Connor do the entire trip driving. And that would mean then I would drive up with my car, so that then Mo and I could drive down, go back home with the car. And Connor would then proceed to school. So Saturday morning, we were supposed to go up to Connecticut. Now, Mo and I were going to go up Saturday, turn around, and come back Sunday. This way, Mo wouldn't have to take time off from work and so on and so forth. And he had Monday off, but this way he could just kind of relax after the 2-day trip. So Saturday morning came around, woke up, and the weather was great. There was no problems there. And I had been thinking about this, and I said, are you sure about us doing the trip, versus Connor making the ride up themselves? And Mo said, well, I don't, Mo was still a little unsure, but he said, well, let's talk to Connor. So Connor woke up early. We didn't have to wake them up at all, and was getting ready and so on and so forth. So we went to Connor and we said, so you have 2 choices. We are absolutely happy to go up with you. If you want that kind of one time more to have Dad be in the car with you, and, you know, so much, so on and so forth, because, you know, there's a bunch of different roads to get from here up to there. You know, it's not just stay on the one road and you're done. And Connor said, or you could go by yourself, we said. And Connor was like, I am fine to drive by myself. Connor actually really likes to drive. It is something that they always like to do, even in high school. It was kind of just go for drives. So, and hearing Connor talk about it, there was no anxiety, no like nervousness about the thing or whatever. So we said, you know what? This is our step back parenting moment. I mean, Connor is 20, you know, will be 21 in less than 6 months. I know at 20, I was certainly doing a lot more, you know, had been let to do more stuff on my own. So I said, we're going to step back and we're going to take that parent moment. Now, Mo did sit down with Connor. It's a beautiful thing. Apple Maps, you can pin all the different things, because the George Washington Bridge, we just don't do, unless we were traveling at like 4 a.m. We did not want Connor to try to navigate all of that with themselves in the car. So you could pin where you wanted to go. So Mo and Connor worked through the route and pinning places so that the GPS would take you that direction. So that was really a relief. And yes, we do have Find My Friends. So yes, over the course of that, it was probably between 6 and 6.5 hour drive. Yes, Mo and I would periodically check Find My Friends and say, oh, Connor is here, Connor's there, so on and so forth. So yes, we didn't completely let go. I think about how when I was 20, there were no cell phones, there was no GPS. You were just on your own. So, but so we did, and we let Connor do the trip. Connor went up to my in-laws, stayed there. So arrived on Saturday, went up to school on Monday. Classes started on Tuesday. So got a nice visit with my in-laws, which I think they always appreciate, which is really nice. And then got up to school. So Mo and I we hadn't anything planned for Saturday, Sunday. So we just had a really low-key weekend. And we, you know, got through that big parenting moment of worry. Now, of course, anytime the trip is made up and down, I'll be worried. But at least now I know that a solo trip was made. Do you know what I mean? So that way you get a chance to start to feel what that 6 hours is a long time to drive yourself. And so having that experience then makes each one easier, right? It can be a pain given traffic or whatever, but it's easier. So that was my big parenting moment. Letting go moment, I guess, is a better way of saying it. And in the process, we had a really quiet weekend, and we did keep it very quiet. I don't think we did a lot at all. Aston Villa was playing, so we did get to see it rather than waiting a day. We were gonna, it was gonna be played, and we would have had to see it later on in the day. We still did watch it. I think we didn't start watching till halftime. They tied, they drew, but they should have won. So it was a bit of a disappointing game in that sense. They should have pulled out the win. They needed to. That would have been helpful. But, you know, it is the way it is. And then, what else? I think I had talked about how January and February are going to be fairly quiet. Like I said, I went to my neighborhood kind of meetup yesterday for needlework, it's called. So like I said, everybody does stuff. So that was fun seeing people. I hadn't been for a couple weeks. So it was nice catching up with everybody. And the weather's going to be cold this weekend. So I think we're bundling up. I am going to, Mo said, what's going on this weekend? And I said, well, besides 24 hours of cross stitch. So he might be kind of wandering around the house. He always has things to do, and you can't pickleball this time of year. So he might be kind of driving me nuts a little bit this weekend, but we're keeping it pretty quiet, I think, because we're just going to hunker in and let the cold stay out there, and we'll stay inside. I think it's supposed to get a little bit better after this weekend, so we'll see. But yeah, so just quiet, and that's fine. I'll take it. They always say, what is it? Wintertime is the time, like, animals hibernate and animals slow down and nature kind of slows down. And so it's a great time for us as people to kind of hunker in, slow down, wait for those long days of the spring, summer, fall, whatever, and the crazy busiest. Take this as a time to kind of just hibernate ourselves a little bit. Don't have to be 100%, but just a little bit. Take it a little easier on yourself. So that's what we're going to do. All right. And I hope you are, whether you are hibernating or out and about, I hope you are having, whatever it is you need and want right now for you in your life. But as always, remember, please take care of yourself. I hope you're well. I hope you are safe. Always think of yourself in the sense of self-care. Please take care of yourself and give yourself something every single day that is just for you, because you are important. And so you need to make sure you take care of one of the most important things, you. All right, until next time, happy stitching.